everyone, we're back again. I just have a few words for all of you, but please listen and take notice. The happiest people don't have the best of everything, they just make the best of everything. So remember that. Have a good week, everyone. I wish you good health and all the best. And here's the rabbi.
Hello everybody, Shalom. I have again the pleasure to be able to speak on the Parashat of the Hashavua of this week. Is Perashat Re'eh. Of course, it begins with the what we call the choice that we always have. And the Torah portrays the choice for us. There is a choice to be positive and to do good, and there is a choice to be a negative and to do really things that are bad. And the Torah says, according to your view, according to your behavior, this is going to be either a brachot, blessing, or curses. That's what it is. It's automatically going to be. You have a blessing or a curse. The calculation how these things are done is not in our purview. It's God. And ultimately, whatever comes, the outcome is going to be, if it's a beracha, there will be a way with beracha, even if he doesn't look at you that it is a beracha. Might be very difficult things, but at the end, through the effort, it's going to be a beracha, a blessing. On the other hand, it's not a life of ease that it is the light of ease that it is a beracha, and a difficulty is that it is a klala. On the contrary, so we don't know this calculation. God is the one. There is one subject I would like to speak on this parasha that is very interesting. There was a Parashat Shemini in Vayikra, in Leviticus. There, God itemizes there all the rules, the laws that pertains to animals and to birds and to fish. Which one is kasher and which one is not kasher? Which one is permitted to be consumed? Which one is not permitted? And there are at least 24 kinds of birds that are in the category of birds of prey, and the Torah prohibits them. And among them, the Torah mentioned Ra'ah, and then here the Torah mentioned it again and gives us three names for one bird of prey, and the name is Ra'ah, and then it's called Daya, and then Ayah. These are three names, and it's very interesting. The rabbis make a point to ask why these three names. First of all, they tell us in the Talmud in Cholin, they tell us that, you see, if the Torah would not mention this bird of prey, that it has three names, if it would mention only one name, if somebody else would come and think, oh, well, I know this bird by this name, by a different name, I would think that it is kasher, because it's not mentioned in the Torah. That's why the Torah mentioned all the three names. But it's very interesting what the Talmud says about this bird of prey. It tried to describe, first of all, what bird of prey is talking, what bird is talking about the Torah. Some want to say that it is the vulture, the hawk, but ultimately, after research, you know that the Torah is speaking about the kite. The kite is a bird of prey which is it's very smooth, and in a way, in its flight, when he has to fish, for example, it's like we are used to see the vulture, how it does, the eagle, how it goes and it slides and it's called a kite exactly because of its mannerism, its way. It said it has a keen eyesight that when from the height and you want to go and catch whether fish and any other small birds, any other mice, any other rodent, that's what it's her menu. And when it wants to fish, for example, from the very high that he is, he can see throughout the whole terrain, and it has got such a sight. That's what what our rabbis tell us. And in describing it, the rabbi said, you know, what is this ra'ah? Now the word ra'ah means that sees. That means that it can see so far away that it's piercing with its gaze to the point that that's how it really feeds itself and survives. The other thing also, daya. Daya means like it glides. It's so smooth when it is flying, and it got a span of wings that it has, wingspan that is so great as well as it flies. And this is what is daya, comes from that. And then there is ayah. Ayah is like a wailing, and so on. This is how it goes. So it's describing the Talmud, its mannerism. But then it says there is a mannerism of this bird of prey, that it says that היא עומדת בבבל ורואה נבלות בארץ ישראל. He said that it stands in Babylonia, yeah, and from there it can see the carcasses, yeah, the corpses in Eretz Israel. When you think about Babylon, is Iraq, okay? From Iraq to Eretz Israel about 500 miles or more, and it can see. This is how the Kenai. What is it that the Talmud is trying to teach us? Talmud is trying to teach us why this bird of prey is not kasher. It's telling us that this is the feature of this bird of prey, that why it's not kasher. It's two reasons why. One is, of course, is the bird of prey, and the question is, why is it describing us as something that is a negative? The fact that it can see so far away. I can understand the fact that it's a bird of prey, but the Talmud to tell us that it has such a keen and piercing eye, that's a positive. We know why the rules, that we know why the birds of prey that we are not allowed to consume is because they said, you know, you become what you eat. It's not just a cliche. You become what you eat. It means that the features of such animal, birds of prey, it can really influence our psyche, our personality. And so therefore, it's a negative thing. We don't, but the animal, which are domesticated animals, they have got a peaceful way about them. And so therefore, why the Torah permits it to us instead of birds of prey. So what is the negative about seeing in here? I think that what the Talmud is telling us, that this is a feature, a negative feature. Why? Because, you know, when you look to Eretz Israel, from wherever you are, today we have become also like the birds of prey that we can see from. You can stand in the United States, you can stand in Australia, you can stand any part of the world, and you can still see Eretz Israel. It's like the birds. You can really look. And what do you see? You see, you can see in Eretz Israel great things. And Eretz Israel is not perfect. The people of Israel is not perfect. The government is not perfect. Anything is not perfect. But you can see two things. what is good and what is not good, perhaps. But when you stand in, like in Babel, like the Talmud said, stand in your place, and what you only see is carcass, what you only see is nevelot, which is what has become today to see the Eretz Israel, to criticize completely, and what you see is only nevelot, then the Torah says, you are tref. You are not pure. You have got a problem. You are not the one that it has the good qualities of those the birds that can be consumed. You are like the trefa that it is, this bird of prey, because the fact is that what you see is only the negative completely. I think this can be brought into a big political thing, but we are going to this next time. But what we want to say is it's very important that you see in other people, yes, whether if you are far away or near, but you have the positive, which is most important. It's not good to stand in Babylon and see in Eretz Israel only the carcasses and the bad thing. Shabbat Shalom.